Hello, everyone, and welcome to this MCP series. This is the part 3 of the series. And in our video today, we will be discussing about Model Context Protocol Server or MCP server and its primitives. Prerequisite for this video is knowledge of Model Context Protocol and its architecture. Hence, if you do not know what MCP is all about, then please refer to the part 1 and part 2 of this series. The URLs are mentioned right here. They will also be mentioned in the description of this video. So, what are MCP servers? MCP servers are programs that expose specific capabilities to AI applications through a standardized protocol interface. Each server provides a focused functionality for a particular domain, use case, or a task. These are some of the examples. You have file system servers, you have email servers for message handling or sending emails, you have travel servers for trip planning, you have database servers for data queries. What are some of the MCP server primitives? What are primitives? Primitives are nothing else but basic building blocks. We have 3 of them. We have tools, we have resources, and we have prompts. What are tools? Tools are nothing else but function calls or API calls, and they perform a specific action for the model. So basically, the purpose of these tools is to perform AI actions for the model. And most importantly, tools are model controlled. That means a model can discover and invoke a tool directly. So a model can call a tool for searching flights, creating a calendar event, sending an email, sending a message, whatever action the model wants to take. Next we have is resources. What do resources do? Resources provide contextual data, that is additional data, additional information. And it could be about anything. And it could be in any form. It could be in the form of documents, emails, calendars, weather data. It could be also in form of APIs. It just depends upon, how you want to expose that particular piece of information as a resource. And resources are application controlled. That means you provide all this contextual information, all this contextual data to the application, and the application can then use this data however it feels is appropriate. So it's totally up to the application how it wants to handle this data, what it wants to do next with this data. It may use that information to make certain business decisions, to invoke certain actions. It's totally up to the application as to how it wants to handle this piece of information. And finally, we have prompts. Prompts are nothing else but interaction templates. Remember, as humans, I believe all of us know what prompts are, but as humans, we basically prompt the model. I'm sure everybody by now knows how to prompt. We may not be the best of the prompters, but hey, we still know how to interact with an AI model, especially folks working in the IT industry, most of them. And hence, these prompts are interaction templates that you use, that the user uses, and hence they're user controlled. And the prompt could be anything. It could be, hey, plan a vacation, or draft an email. And prompts can be parameterized as well. So you could have a plan a vacation and you can give your dates, location, so your dates, your location, your budget, whatever information that is necessary. To summarize a meeting, you may give your meeting notes that you have captured and say, okay, now can you please summarize this meeting for me? So these are the 3 core server primitives: tools, resources, and prompts. Let us now look at each one of them in detail. So first is tools. What are tools? Tools are schema-defined interfaces that LLMs can invoke to perform actions through server-implemented functions. Remember, tools are model controlled, meaning AI models can discover and invoke them automatically. Each tool defines a specific operation. And of course, it's an API call, so it has typed inputs and outputs. Now, as per the MCP protocol, applications should clearly display available tools in the UI and provide visual indicators when the tools are being considered or used. So there has to be a visual indicator on the UI that here tool is being considered as being used. Any tool execution requires explicit user approval. This is to ensure that users maintain control over the actions taken by a model. And most importantly, for trust and safety reasons, applications should provide manual approval to give humans the ability to deny tool invocations. So these are extremely important. And finally, your application's activity logs should show all tool executions along with their results. So as per the MCP protocol, as far as tools are concerned, they should be displayed on the UI, and you should have visual indicators when tools are being considered or used. When a tool is invoked, the execution of the tool requires an explicit user approval. The user has to provide a manual approval. Basically, we have human intervention and human in the loop over here. And remember, the person can either approve or deny the tool usage, so that essentially, the model doesn't go crazy and do whatever it wants to do. The human has a say whether the human wants to execute the tool or not. For all you know, human might not want to execute the tool. And finally, activity logs should show all tool executions with their results. Now, some of the protocol methods are that, of course, you have to have a capability to list the different tools, to discover the available tools, and a capability to execute a specific tool. Now, let's take an example of business travel planning. So in this particular scenario, we have business travel planning from NYC to Barcelona. In this case, the AI application might use several tools to help book a trip. Remember that tools are model invoked. So the model might call a tool to search for flights, to create a calendar event, to send an email out. And remember that each tool in execution requires explicit user approval. This is the most important thing, because humans have to have full control over the actions taken by the model. It should not happen that some actions were taken by the model and humans were kept in the dark. Let us now look at the second server primitive, which is resources. Resources provide a structured access to data that the host application can retrieve directly and provide to AI models as context. The application controlled. Resources expose data from files, APIs, databases, or any other source that you want to use as a resource. Resources use URI-based identification, with each resource having a unique URI. Resources support two discovery patterns: direct resources with fixed URIs or resource templates with parameterized URIs. And from a UI perspective, applications are free to implement resource discovery through any interface pattern. So the MCP protocol doesn't mandate anything or doesn't say you have to expose resources in this particular pattern or something like that. It does not mandate any specific UI patterns for browsing, searching, or filtering resources. Now, what are some of the methods? Of course, you have to have a method to list all the resources. If you're using resource templates, and to list the resource templates. You need to have method for reading or retrieving resource context and basically monitoring if there are any changes in resources. Let us continue with the example further ahead. Now, resources provide contextual information to the AI application, which it can choose how it wants to handle. It may give that information to model. It may choose how it wants to handle. It's totally up to the application. The AI application can pass the calendar data, weather data, and travel preferences so that the model can check availability, weather lookup patterns, and travel preferences. right? So you can pass your calendar data, your travel documents, your passport data, some of your previous itineraries to basically understand, how this person travels, what are some of the personal preferences of this individual. So all of this is all contextual information that the AI application has got, which it can pass very well to the model and then take it ahead from there. And you could either have direct, resources which fix URIs, or you could have resource templates. So this is a resource template. So this particular resource template basically accesses forecast for any city or date combination. Now let us look at, last but not the least, prompts, which is the final server primitive. Prompts are nothing but structured reusable templates that are defined with some expected parameterized inputs and interaction patterns. Most of the times it will have some parameterized inputs, otherwise it may not, but generally I've seen it has parameterized inputs. Remember, prompts are user controlled. So they require an explicit invocation. The user has to trigger or send a prompt. Hence, for prompts, there is no automatic triggering. So prompts are very different from tools. Tools can be automatically triggered. Prompts requires an explicit invocation by the user or by the human being. The protocol gives implementers freedom to design interfaces that feel natural within their application. So there is no particular mandate from the MCP protocol as to what to do and how to handle prompts. Of course, if your server is exposing prompts, then you have to have methods that list all the prompts and retrieve the prompt details. So this is a prompt. Plan a trip. You can see it's a parameterized prompt. This is the name, title, description, and these are the arguments. So this prompt enables a structured input. So, hey, I'm traveling to Barcelona for 7 days. This is my budget, and these are my interests. So you can get a template and then execute or create the prompt and execute it. Now let us look at an example end to end. So consider an AI application that is connected with 3 servers. We have 3 servers connected, okay? One is travel server, which handles flights, hotels, itineraries. We have the weather server that provides climate data and forecasts. And finally, we have email/calendar server that manages schedules and communication. So this particular AI application is connected to these 3 servers. So what will happen as part of this whole flow that we were looking at? The user invokes a prompt with parameters. So, hey, I'm traveling from New York to Barcelona. These are my dates. This is my budget. So my dates, my budget, and number of travelers. These are some of the resources to be included. So either the AI application has fetched these resources, or even the user can say that, hey, some of these resources are available. Can you please include these resources? So either way, the resources can be included. And remember what these resources are going to do. They are going to provide contextual information to perform this action, which is planning my trip from NYC to Barcelona. So it's going to give my calendar information, my travel preferences, and my past trips. So, hey, this is her availability. When she travels to Europe, she prefers to travel, business class. And from my past trips, hey, you can know that, hey, every time she always stays in a Marriott hotel. That's the person's preference. Okay, so these are some of the resources. Remember, this is contextual information. And this information can be used to book this trip. This is past information, additional information that has been provided. Now, what is the AI application going to do? Remember, AI application controls all these resources. So AI application first reads as all the selected resources to gather contextual information. So it'll process all these resources. Here I have all these resources. So from the calendar, it identifies the available dates, travel preferences, From the past trips, it discovers the preferred trip style. And from the weather data, it checks the climate conditions for the travel period. So if it's going to rain, then I better carry an umbrella. Or if it's too sunny, then I should have a good strong sunblock. Now, using this context, the AI application then requests the user approval to execute a series of coordinated actions. Most of these will be tools, hence a user approval is required. First is search for flights from NYC to Barcelona depending upon the calendar availability. Second is finding hotels, considering the travel preferences within the specified budget. Third is creating a calendar event for the trip duration and blocking the calendar. Finally, once the trip has been confirmed, it has to send out confirmation email with trip details. And finally, after all of this is done, my team needs to be informed that I'm out of office. And of course, there could be other actions that could be taken as well. These are just some samples for us to understand in this particular context or scenario. But yeah, you could possibly take, bunch of other actions and have them as tools and be called by the model. Once the AI application, goes through all the resources and then sends the contextual information to the model, then the model can decide what it wants to do further ahead from there. So I hope that this video was helpful. Do post your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are about MCP and especially MCP servers. Have you created any MCP servers? I will be creating a lab on this as well shortly. But I would really like to understand and know from each one of you as to what your experience has been all about. So, guys, this is it from me today. Thank you and have a nice day. I will see you shortly in some other video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.